Okay, I'll tell you, Mr. Arrington, I go through these documents in the morning and I have preliminarily denied bond for your client, but I will listen to you as it relates to anything you want to bring to my attention. Can we have Mr. Glendale Richard? Are you Mr. Richard? Okay, Mr. Richard, I would normally speak to you during this circumstance, but you have a lawyer, Mr. Arrington, and I am going to speak to Mr. Arrington directly. You should be aware, Mr. Richard, that this is being broadcast live on the internet, and there's not an opportunity for you to be able to speak to Mr. Arrington privately. So please don't discuss anything about your case or say anything that you don't want the whole world to know, okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Arrington, Mr. Richard is charged with 1 count of commercial burglary. And as I said before, I have preliminarily denied his bond, but I will hear from you as to anything that you want to say about Mr. Richard.
Thank you, Judge, and I appreciate this opportunity to speak on behalf of Mr. Richard. Your Honor, I'm an attorney at the Georgia Justice Project. We are a legal aid nonprofit. We work very closely with a GDC facility called the Metro Reentry Facility. That is a men's prison that is the first of its kind in the state. And what they do is they're focused on preparing returning citizens who would otherwise be in the prison system. They help by preparing them for their inevitable release. They have more specific programming geared toward reentry, counselors that are more involved on a more in-depth matter. And they've also allowed GJP as an organization to have some input there by allowing our attorneys to assist the returning citizens and remove some of the barriers to their reentry. So that's how I became to know Mr. Richard in the first place. I spoke with him regarding this warrant from Clayton County while he was in prison. And our goal is normally to get the detainer and the warrant handled while someone is still serving a sentence, to not extend their time in custody to reduce that barrier. Judge, this warrant that we're dealing with here is for a commercial burglary. And I'd like to point out to Your Honor that it alleges a burglary that occurred in September of 2016.
Yes, sir.
That is a burglary that was one of a string that eventually led to Mr. Richard serving the sentence that he, as of yesterday, had completed. There was another charge in Clayton County, and I believe there was also a charge in DeKalb County as well. He was sentenced on those charges, Your Honor, and he was actually granted parole for those offenses. It's just this warrant now is outstanding and is going to be the one that might hold him in custody, even though it was for an event that happened nearly 5 years ago.
5 years ago almost.
At least 4 years ago, Judge, but I don't know if that'll be a relevant fact at this stage. Your Honor, Mr. Richard completed the MRF program. I'd say he thrived in it. He got a certificate in barbering and food service. He worked in the medical wing of the prison, and he really worked the program. Going forward, Your Honor, he will be living with his sister who lives in Jonesboro. I spoke with her yesterday and she confirms that he will be living with her. She's been living in Jonesboro for 4 years and lived in Georgia for 8 years total. And they will be working to set Mr. Richard up with a job doing warehouse work. In addition to that, Your Honor, my organization has a reentry specialist who will continue to work with Mr. Richard to, make sure it's a smooth process for him, to smooth out some of the bumps that sometimes pop up when someone is being released from a prison sentence. That includes employment services, but also resume services, job interview prep. And I'll be working with Mr. Richard to help him, navigate any issues he'll have serving his probation sentence out of Clayton County, as well as giving him advice to get his license back. So Your Honor, I understand that your initial decision was to deny bond, and I have no doubt that that may have been based on his criminal history. But I would like the court to consider that this is for an offense that predated his incarceration. I've been in touch with an assistant district attorney in the Clayton County office, and they're taking a look at it. And they've expressed that their concern is any possible restitution, not necessarily extending the time Mr. Richard will have to serve in custody. I'd like Your Honor to take that into consideration. and consider granting Mr. Richard a signature bond, given that he has just served his time in custody since 2016, and this is relating back to that initial circumstance.
Right, Mr. Arrington, you have convinced me to give Mr. Richard a bond. The OR bond process is a little bit cumbersome right now. I would have to get permission or approval from my chief magistrate, and that could mean his remaining in custody while I get that approval. This is an old warrant, and based upon the representation that you've made, I'm willing to give him a $5,000 bond. Is that something that, and I know you may not know, but is that something you believe Mr. Richard can make?
Mr. Richard, no, sir, he won't be able to make that.
Okay.
He hasn't had any income for the past several years while he's been in prison. Not to be candid with you, when I spoke with his sister, I brought up the issue of bond, and she expressed I didn't speak numbers with her, but she expressed hesitancy as to the bond issue as well.
Right. Okay. I'm willing to set Mr. Richard a $5,000 bond. I can't think I can go much lower than this at this stage. This is something that you've put forward a compelling argument as it relates to Mr. Richard, and it was a concern as it relates to his criminal history. I believe it's 20. Let's see. There are 14, it looks like that there are 14 cycles and 22 pages. Just so Mr. Richard understands, when a judge is in this position, you're trying to set bond, you also have to think about the community, and trying to kind of find what is the happy middle ground. I feel comfortable with the $5,000 bond, given that I was not going to set a bond. This is something where Mr. Richard may have to go through bonding companies. I know some bonding companies may even go through payment plans and things of that sort, to the extent that it may be a little bit difficult for him to come out. My earliest bond hearing dates right now would be May 7th. And I'm willing to set that as a bond hearing date, understanding that Mr. Richard may have a problem in setting the getting the $5,000 bond. I do understand that at this point, the district attorney's office, because of the coronavirus, is working with people and trying to find ways to get people out or consent to a bond. So what I'll do, Mr. Arrington, is I'll set a $5,000 bond, and I'll allow you, well, not allow, but that'll give you the opportunity to possibly work with the district attorney's office. And so at least you're starting from a $5,000 figure trying to work down, as opposed to no bond. So is there anything else, Mr. Arrington, that you want to bring to my attention?
Not at this time, Your Honor. Is that May 7th tentative bond hearing date? Obviously, hopefully Mr. Richard's able to bond out before then. But will that be?
It'll be a backstop. So if he's not able to get out before then, he'll at least know that that date has been set. And if you're unsuccessful with being able to work with the district attorney's office between now and then, at least you'll have a date set that you can come in and possibly maybe convince them or maybe find alternative means to get Mr. Richard out so that he can move on with his life.
Yes, sir. Thank you for that. And I appreciate the consideration. I believe Clayton County works on bond schedules, so.
Yes, 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 we do. And this is something that I wish more often I had the opportunity to speak to lawyers and even prosecutors, because I just have sort of the bare bones of the document that I have to make these decisions on, and it helps me to be able to hear more about what's going on.
Absolutely. No, I understand that. May I address Mr. Richard real quick?
Yes, but keep in mind, this will be public.
Yes, sir. So Mr. Richard, I'll reach out to your sister and I'll give her updates. Do you have her number with you?
Yeah, I have it.
Okay. All right. We'll talk more soon, okay?
Okay, then you can contact my kid's mom and see if she can help her out dealing with this matter.
Okay. Does your sister have her number?
Yeah.
Okay, good idea. I'll do that.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Richard.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Arrington, you're free to go. Mr. Richard, you're free to go back.
Thank you, Judge. Before I go, I just want to say it's good to see you again. I don't know if you remember, but back in, I think, 2013, I interned for you and Emily Gilbert at the Capitol Defender's Office.
Well, it's good to see you. I don't remember, but it's good to see you.
Yeah. Thank you, Judge. Have a good day.
All right. Have a good day. Okay, so we do not have the interpreter on the line yet. So since we just have two on the male side, I'm going to start the script and we can get at least through the lady side. And we can keep this moving along as you know, as quickly as possible. Yes, so I'm going to start the script.
Yeah.
Okay, good morning, everyone. This is your first appearance hearing before the Magistrate Court of Clayton County. My name is Brad Gardner, and I'm a judge in this court. I'm not here to conduct a trial of your case or to take a plea in your case. I am here to inform you of the charges that have been filed against you, to advise you of certain rights, to set bail on those offenses that I am authorized to set bail, to schedule a preliminary hearing, and to determine whether you require the assistance of an attorney. You have the right to remain silent and say nothing, but should you give up this right, anything you say during this proceeding may be used against you if your case goes to trial. So please don't discuss the facts of your case. During this and all other proceedings, you have the following rights: the right to the presumption of innocence, the right to indictment by a grand jury for most felonies or by accusation for misdemeanors, the right to a speedy and public trial by jury, the right to see, hear, and question witnesses who are called to testify against you, the right to compel the attendance of witnesses to testify on your behalf, the right to testify on your own behalf or offer evidence in your own defense, the right to have an attorney represent you. If you cannot afford an attorney, one can be appointed to represent you if you qualify. Some of you will be allowed to post unrestricted bonds for your release from jail. These bonds may be by cash, commercial, or property. If you post a cash bond, someone will deliver the full amount of the bond and fees in cash to the sheriff's office. The sheriff's office will hold the cash and return it at the end of the case. If you use a commercial bonding company, someone will have to pay a fee to the company for their service. The fee will not be returned. I don't know what fee will be charged, but it is usually based on a percentage of the bond. Finally, if you use property to post a bond, the property will need to have a net equity at least 3 times the total amount of the bond. Some of you will have special conditions on your bond that prohibit you from contacting certain people or going to certain places. This special condition will be provided to you on a separate form. You will also be prohibited from contacting the victim while you are in jail. If you violate the court's order, your bond will be revoked and you can remain in jail until your trial. You could also receive additional felony charges. It is important to note that if someone is listed as a victim in your case, that person will not be allowed to post your bond. Some of you are charged with offenses for which this court is not authorized by law to set bail. In this event, a bond hearing will be scheduled before a judge of the Superior Court of Clayton County, and you will be informed of that date. If you are currently on active probation, this court is not authorized to set bond at this time. Where the bond is appropriate in your case will be reconsidered after your probation officer has had an opportunity to consider this new arrest. The purpose of a preliminary hearing is to determine whether there is sufficient evidence to support the allegations against you. The standard at this stage is very low. A judge determining whether a charge goes forward at this stage only has to determine that it is possible that the crime occurred. Everyone has the ability to waive their right to a preliminary hearing. However, you should speak to a lawyer first if you are unsure about whether it is appropriate to waive your preliminary hearing. If you post bond, your preliminary hearing is automatically waived. You will receive notice at the address you give of your next court date. Finally, I need everyone to raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that any statements you make during this proceeding will be the truth, the whole truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's start with the ladies.
Sit down. Burley, mute your mic. Okay, Your Honor, the first one is Ms. Brown.
Okay,
Ms. Brown?
Ms. Brown, you're charged with 1 count of aggravated battery and 1 count of affray. I've set your total bond at $8,000. Do you believe you can post that bond, ma'am?
I'm not sure at this moment, sir.
Okay. You're gonna have a preliminary hearing date set for May 5th at 8:30 in the morning because the aggravated battery charge is a felony charge. And that preliminary hearing will be waived upon your bonding out, and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
You said we could do property. How does that work?
The property has to have a net equity at least 3 times the bond amount. So the property that you would like to use would at least have a net equity of $24,000 or $25,000. And that's something that my understanding is that you would go to the sheriff's department as it relates to the property, and you would have to go through them.
Okay.
So would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
You can, but I'll try to postpone.
Okay.
Even if you bond, you still gonna need a lawyer.
Yeah, yes, sir, please.
Okay, you do qualify, ma'am. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. The lawyer that I'm appointing to you, you do not have to keep. If you decide that you want to hire your own lawyer, you're free to do so. Okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, you're free to go back, ma'am.
Okay, the next one is Ms. Denton.
Okay, Ms. Denton, you're charged with violation of Georgia Controlled Substance Act, and that's being written as a felony. Possession of marijuana less than an ounce, driving a vehicle with an expired tag, and also another drug charge appears that is related to what they believe to be pills. I'm setting your total bond in this case at $7,000. Do you believe you can post that bond, ma'am?
I'm not sure, possibly so, but I'm not 100% sure.
Okay. You're going to have a preliminary hearing date set for May 5th at 8:30 in the morning. That date will get waived upon your bonding out, and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Denton, you do qualify. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions for me, ma'am?
No, sir, not this time.
Okay, you're free to go back.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next is Ms. Duncan.
I'm sorry, what was that name?
Duncan.
Oh, I still didn't understand that.
Duncan, D-U-N-C-A-K-C-A-N. Duncan.
Okay, okay.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's all right.
Ms. Duncan, you've been charged with one count of driving a vehicle without a license and one count of not having your headlights on. Your total bond is going to be set at $1,500. Do you believe you can post that bond, ma'am?
Yeah.
Okay, you're going to have a preliminary hearing date set for May 4th at 8:30 in the morning. That date is going to get waived upon your bonding out, and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer? Hey, Ms. Duncan, you do qualify. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions for me?
Would I be, would somebody be able to bond me out, and I still come to court? On May 4th, or whatever you say.
Okay, so yes, someone can bond you out. Your court date that I set for May 4th, that date will get moved upon your bonding out, and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Okay, any other questions, ma'am?
Listen.
Okay, you're free to go back, Ms. Duncan.
Don't let the door close, all right. Next is Ms. Glass.
Ms. Glass, you've been charged with one count of theft of lost or mislaid property. Your bond is going to be set at $2,000. Do you believe you can post that bond, ma'am?
Is that the same amount that it was yesterday, sir?
Well, no, this is a bond that's set, what's called set by schedule, which means it's automatically set. And the sheriff's department is required by law to add fees to a bond. So you probably were told a higher number than what I just said, but the fees are automatically added to whatever bond the judge set. Certain offenses, the judges have already sat down and they've decided an automatic bond amount. So if you had paid this yesterday, you wouldn't even appear before me.
I can pay the 2,000, yes, sir. Today.
Okay.
My mom.
You're gonna have a preliminary hearing date set for May 4th at 8:30 in the morning, but that date is gonna get waived upon your bonding out, and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, sir. And I have one question. What address do you guys have on file so I can make sure everything is correct? Or,
The one you want to pay.
okay, never mind. I don't want to say that out loud. Never mind.
Yes. You don't want somebody on the internet knowing.
Never
where
mind.
you live.
Exactly.
So you do qualify for the appointment of a lawyer. Tell me how much you make per month, per hour?
I make 13, well, it's going up maybe like 14.75.
Okay. So you do qualify. The number, well, I'll say this. Let me look. The address on the warrant is the same address that you listed when you filled out the paperwork. So that will be the address that the notice would go to.
Yes, sir.
If you move from that address, you intend to move, just put a forwarding address in with the Postal Service, and your mail will get forwarded to your new address. Okay.
Yes, sir. I don't plan on moving though.
Okay. Any other questions for me, Ms. Glass?
No, sir.
Okay, you're free to go back.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
Next is Ms. Hughley. How you spell it? That's how you say it? Very good.
Okay, ma'am, you've been charged with 1 count of disorderly conduct, 1 count of, looks like a learner's license permit violation, 1 count of driving a vehicle with inoperable brake lights, and 1 count of improper or erratic lane change. You're gonna have a total bond set at $3,000. Do you believe you can post this bond, ma'am?
Oh, yes.
Okay. You're gonna have a preliminary hearing date set for May 4th at 8:30 in the morning. That date is gonna get waived upon your bonding out, and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes.
Okay, you do qualify, ma'am. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions of me?
When would I be able to talk to this lawyer?
So the law firm, because it's a misdemeanor, it's going to be a law firm that's named Lister, Lister, and Holt, Holt. I don't know their internal procedures for contacting individuals. Today is Thursday. I would say if you haven't heard anything from them by Monday, you can contact that law firm and tell them you need to speak to the lawyer that's been assigned to represent you.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay. Any other questions, ma'am?
No.
All right, you're free to go back.
Next is Ms. Perrier.
You've been charged with 1 count of giving a false name, address, or date of birth. The bond is going to be set at $2,000 for this. Do you believe you can post that bond? Okay, you're going to have a preliminary hearing date that's going to be set for May 4th at 8:30 in the morning, but that date will get waived upon your bonding out, and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, ma'am, you do qualify. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions of me?
I just need to know the percentage amount of how much I need to pay today.
So it'll roughly be $200-300. But I always tell people I don't work for the bonding companies. Each bonding company may charge you something different. I would encourage you to speak to as many of them as possible to see what best rate you can get.
Okay.
Okay.
Do I have to, if I have my own money, do I still have to go through a bonding company or no?
No, ma'am. You can give the full amount. The sheriff's department will tell you the full amount. You can give that full amount to the sheriff's department, and they will hold that until your case is over, and then they will return that money to you.
I can get it to them today?
Yes. If you have it to give it to them today, you can do that today.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions, ma'am?
No, sir.
Okay. You're free to go back.
Thanks.
Next is Ms. Pritch.
Hey.
Pinch. Ms. Pinch.
Okay, ma'am, you've been charged with 1 count of possession of marijuana more than an ounce. I've set the bond at $5,000. Do you believe you can post that bond?
Yes, sir.
You're going to have a preliminary hearing date set for May 5th at 8:30 in the morning because this is a felony charge. That date will get waived upon your bonding out, and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
No, sir.
Okay. You're going to hire your own, or you're going to represent yourself?
I'll hire on my own.
Okay. If you don't have any questions for me, ma'am, you're free to go back.
Okay, thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
And the last is Miss Shroud. My phone card now.
Don't let the door turn on.
Ms. Stroud, you're charged with 1 count of family violence battery and 1 count of possession of marijuana less than an ounce. You have 2 misdemeanor offenses. You're gonna have a total bond set at $6,500. You believe you can post that bond, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You're gonna have a preliminary hearing date set for May 4th at 8:30 in the morning. That date will get waived upon your bonding out, and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, ma'am, you do qualify. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions of me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you're free to go back, ma'am. Let me, before you log off, let me just make sure I have Jasmine Turner as being OTB.
Jasmine Turner? Yes, sir. Jasmine Turner is OTB.
I have Latria Kitchen as being OTB.
She is, Your Honor.
I think I got one more. I have Angelic Flowers as being OTB.
Flowers. She is OTB, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have. You have a good day.
Yes, sir, you as well.
Okay, what we'll do is we'll just keep going. And I still don't have the interpreter. She hasn't logged on yet. So we'll just get through as much as we can before we deal with her, okay?
All right, produce a job, U-U-U-S, a job, A-J-A-L-A.
Okay, sir, you're charged with 1 count of a fray. I've set your bond at $1,000. Do you believe you can post that bond? I'm sorry, would you speak up a little bit?
I'm going by a bonding company.
I still didn't really understand that.
I'm going by a bonding company.
Okay, so you can post that. All right, you're gonna have a preliminary hearing date set for May 4th at 8:30 in the morning. That date will get waived upon your bonding out, and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
No, sir.
Okay, you're gonna hire your own lawyer, you're gonna represent yourself.
I'm gonna hire my own lawyer.
Okay, if you don't have any questions for me, sir, you're free to go back. I'm sorry, tell me your name one more time, sir. Okay, Mr. Anderson, you're charged with 1 count of battery and 1 count of terroristic threats. The terroristic threat charge is a felony, and this is one of those cases where it was showing that you are still on probation. And so I can't set bond at this stage on this charge. But I can, well, I have given you a preliminary hearing date of May 5th at 8:30 in the morning. That date will get waived upon your bonding out, and you'll get a new court date in the mail. I see you didn't fill out this form. Is it your intent to hire your own lawyer?
Your Honor, may I speak?
Yes, sir.
He's, I don't think he quite understand good.
Okay. What I'm going to do, Mr. Anderson, is I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Give me 1 second, sir. I'm going to set you a bond date for May 7th at 8:30 in the morning. Your lawyer will be able to advocate on your behalf and possibly speak to the district attorney's office to get a consent bond, so you're not waiting until that time. Do you understand that, Mr. Anderson? Okay, do you have any questions of me, Mr. Anderson?
Will I be going home soon on my preliminary day? If I have one?
You may be able to go home before that date. This is something where, because it was showing that you're on probation, I'm prevented by law for setting a bond at this first hearing, but it doesn't mean you can't get a bond set tomorrow or the day after that or whatever, through a consent bond or something like that with the district attorney's office. So I'm just prohibited from setting a bond today, but it doesn't mean you have to wait until May to get out. Okay? You're gonna have to work with the lawyer that I've appointed for you. Okay?
You know when they're gonna come and see me?
I don't know. It's going to be the public defender's office of Clayton County. And so if you haven't had word from them by Monday, I would give them a call. I just don't know their internal procedures. A lot of, in other counties, what I've seen is that they just have set days that they automatically go and see people, but I just don't know what they do here. Okay?
Okay.
All right, you're free to go back, Mr. Anderson. Hold on, we have Miss Tolles here. Who were the two individuals that needed the interpreter?
What the names are?
Yes, sir.
I'm trying to get them for you. Yeah. It's just gonna be one, Your Honor. It's gonna be Sanchez.
Okay. Ms. Tolles, are you there?
Yes, sir. Good morning, Your
Good
Honor. How are
morning.
you?
I'm doing well.
To
How
get
are
my
you?
mouse over the right area of these two screens I have going on.
Okay.
I'm well. Thank you so much.
It looks like we have Pedro Sanchez Campos as the person we're going to need your help with today.
Yes, sir. Okay, I see him on the list. Thank you.
Mr. Sanchez Campos, good morning, sir.
Señor Sánchez Campos, buenos días.
Can you see and understand the interpreter?
Señor, ¿puede usted ver y entender al intérprete? Excuse me?
Can you see and understand the interpreter?
Que si usted puede ver y entender al intérprete.
Sí, puedo ver y más o menos entender.
Yes, I can see and more or less I can understand her, more or less I can hear her. Your Honor, are you hearing me clearly?
Yes, I am.
Do I need to speak louder?
No, I can hear you.
Let me confirm again, please, if he can hear
Okay.
me. Ahora, señor, ¿me pueden oír mejor?
Sí.
Okay. He can hear me now, Your Honor.
Mr. Sanchez Campos, this is your first appearance hearing before the Magistrate Court of Clayton County.
Señor Sánchez Campos, esto es la comparecencia inicial en la sala menor del Tribunal de Primera Instancia del Condado de Clayton.
My name is Brad Gardner and I'm a judge in this court.
Yo soy el juez Brad Gardner, un juez en este tribunal.
I'm not here to conduct a trial of your case or to take a plea in your case.
No estoy aquí para llevar a cabo un juicio, ni tampoco aceptar una declaración a acusaciones en esta causa.
I am here to inform you of the charges that have been filed against you,
Estoy aquí para informarle de las acusaciones formuladas en su contra,
to advise you of certain rights,
para informarle de ciertos derechos,
to set bail on those offenses that I'm authorized to set bail,
también para imponerle fianza para las acusaciones las cuales tengo la autorización de imponerle la fianza,
to schedule a preliminary hearing,
para programar su audiencia preliminar.
and to determine whether you require the assistance of an attorney,
Excuse me, what was that last part?
and to determine whether you require the assistance of an attorney.
If the interpreter may interrupt, Your Honor.
Yes.
The defendant was referring to the sentence before that one when he actually made that statement.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's fine.
To schedule a preliminary hearing,
Estoy aquí para programar su audiencia preliminar
and to determine whether you require the assistance of an attorney.
y también estoy aquí para determinar si usted requiere el asesoramiento de un abogado.
You have the right to remain silent and say nothing.
Usted tiene derecho, señor, a guardar silencio sin decir nada.
But should you give up this right, anything you say during this proceeding may be used against you if your case goes to trial.
Pero si usted renuncia a ese derecho, cualquier cosa que diga se puede usar en su contra si el caso procede a juicio.
So please don't discuss the facts of your case.
Así que por favor no hable de los hechos de su caso.
During this and all other proceedings, you have the following rights.
Durante esta diligencia y cualquier diligencia posterior tiene los siguientes derechos.
The right to the presumption of innocence.
El derecho a ser presunto inocente,
The right to indictment by a grand jury for most felonies or by accusation for misdemeanors.
el derecho a que el jurado de indagación o el gran jurado le emite una acusación formal cuando se trata de delitos graves o que proceden en su contra a través de una acusación general cuando se trata de delitos menores.
The right to a speedy and public trial by jury.
El derecho a un juicio público y sin demora ante un jurado.
The right to see, hear, and question witnesses who are called to testify against you.
El derecho a ver, escuchar y contrainterrogar los testigos convocados a declarar en su contra.
The right to compel the attendance of witnesses to testify on your behalf.
El derecho de obligar que comparezcan los testigos para que declaren a su favor.
The right to testify on your own behalf or offer evidence in your own defense.
El derecho para que usted mismo declare o presente pruebas en su propia defensa.
The right to have an attorney represent you.
El derecho a un abogado que lo represente.
If you cannot afford an attorney, one can be appointed to represent you if you qualify.
Si no puede costear un abogado, entonces uno será designado para representarle si usted cumple los requisitos.
At this time, the bond is going to be denied on your 3 offenses.
En este momento, se le niega la fianza para las 3 acusaciones que tiene en su contra. The bond is denied?
Yes, sir.
Sí, señor.
Why?
Why?
Would you like for me to explain your charges to you, sir?
Quisiera que yo le explicara sus acusaciones, señor.
Sería en otro momento, en privado.
It would need to be at another time in private.
Yes, sir.
Sí, señor.
And that's the basis of the denial of the bond.
Y esta, señor, es la base de la denegación de la fianza.
I'm setting a preliminary hearing date for May 5th at 8:30 in the morning.
Le estoy programando, señor, su audiencia preliminar para la fecha 5 de mayo a las 8:30 de la mañana.
Disculpa, ¿vuelve a repetir, por favor?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that again, please?
May 5th at 8:30 in the morning.
Su audiencia preliminar se señala para el 5 de mayo a las 8:30 de la mañana.
And the purpose of a preliminary hearing is to determine whether there is sufficient evidence to support the allegations against you.
Y el propósito de la audiencia preliminar es para determinar si existen suficientes pruebas para sostener las alegaciones en su contra.
The standard at this stage is very low.
El estándar de lo que hay que demostrar en esa etapa jurídica es muy baja.
No entendí, disculpe.
I didn't understand that. I'm sorry.
The standard at that stage is very low.
El estándar de lo que hay que probar en esa etapa judicial es muy bajo.
A judge determining whether a charge goes forward at this stage only has to determine that it is possible that the crime occurred.
El juez que tiene que determinar si una acusación sigue en pie en esa etapa jurídica solamente tiene que determinar que es probable que el incidente ocurrió.
¿Me encierran cuánto?
Excuse me?
No, usted, ¿que me encierre cuánto?
What was that?
No, no escuché.
I didn't hear.
Okay, a judge determining whether a charge goes forward at this stage only has to determine whether it is possible that the crime occurred.
El juez que determina si una acusación sigue adelante en esa etapa jurídica solamente tiene que determinar si es posible que el delito ocurrió.
You have the right to waive your preliminary hearing. However, you should speak to a lawyer first if you are unsure about whether it is appropriate to waive your preliminary hearing.
Usted tiene el derecho a renunciar a la audiencia preliminar, pero debería consultar primero con un abogado si no está seguro si es apropiado renunciar a la audiencia preliminar o no.
No tengo dinero. Mis padres tuvieron COVID y no estuvieron trabajando y yo era el único que estaba trabajando.
I don't have money. My parents had COVID and they were not working. I was the only one who was working.
Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Quisiera, señor, que yo determine si usted reúne requisitos para un abogado de oficio.
No lo sé, porque la verdad es que fue la primera vez que pasa esto en esta magnitud y pues sinceramente no sé qué hacer, me estoy nervioso y pues quisiera un abogado o algo por el estilo, o me voy para la casa o no sé, la verdad.
I don't know exactly because I'm very nervous. I don't know if I should have an attorney or what. I'm nervous. I'm not sure.
These are very serious charges. You should have an attorney represent you.
Señor, estas son acusaciones muy graves y debería tener un abogado para asesorarlo.
You can hire your own attorney, or if you qualify, I can give you an attorney. I can appoint an attorney to represent you.
Usted podría contratar a su propio abogado o si usted cumple los requisitos, yo le puedo nombrar o darle un abogado de oficio.
Sí puedo, pero ¿me puede contratar un abogado?
If I can, but I could also hire an attorney.
Yes, sir.
Sí, señor.
No, entonces sí puedo para hablar primero con el abogado, porque la verdad es que todo esto pasó por una simple curiosidad y pues bueno.
Well, if it's possible, if I could speak with an attorney, because all of this just happened out of a simple curiosity.
Okay. Are you currently working?
Actualmente, señor, ¿está trabajando?
Estoy trabajando, me agarraron en el trabajo, estaba trabajando.
Yes, I'm working. They actually detained me at work. I was working.
Trabajo desde las 7, desde las 8 hasta las 5.
I work
a la casa y pues regreso al trabajo, es lo que hago.
I work from 8 to 5. Then after that, I go home and I just go to work. That's the only thing I do.
About how much do you make per hour?
¿Cómo cuánto está ganando, señor, por hora?
A $12.50.
$12.50.
Y depende si en la empresa hay trabajo o si no me pongo a hacer trabajo por ahí en la calle.
And that depends if there is work available. If not, I just try to find work out and about.
You do qualify, Mr. Sanchez Campos. I've appointed a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any other questions of me, sir?
Señor, usted sí reúne requisitos para el abogado de oficio. Voy a nombrar uno para representarlo. ¿Tiene alguna pregunta para mí?
Voy a permanecer aquí, me voy para la casa.
Will I stay here or will I go home?
Currently, you will stay here. You will have the ability to go home, either with your lawyer speaking to the district attorney's office, or you're having a bond set later.
Actualmente usted permanecerá acá. Posteriormente podría ir a la casa si su abogado, hable con la oficina de la fiscalía, o si después se le impone una fianza.
Entonces, ¿para cuándo el abogado? ¿Para hoy?
So when will I have the attorney from today?
If the attorney has not contacted you by Monday, I would try to contact the Clayton County Public Defender's Office. They are the people that are going to represent you, and tell them you need to speak to your lawyer.
Si para el lunes, señor, el abogado no se haya comunicado con usted, por favor póngase en contacto con la oficina de la Defensoría Pública del Condado de Clayton. Es un abogado de la Defensoría Pública que lo va a representar. Llámenles, por favor, y infórmeles que usted necesita hablar con su abogado.
Sí, no, una última cosa. Lo que pasa es que yo no tengo información de mi mamá ni mi papá y pues estoy aquí sin comunicación, no me sé los números de mis padres. Entonces,
One more thing. I have my mom and my dad, but I'm here and I'm unable to make contact with them.
You will be allowed to use the telephone after this proceeding. The Sheriff's Department, they will allow you to use a telephone.
A usted se le va a permitir, señor, utilizar el teléfono después de esa audiencia. Los agentes de la comisaría del sheriff le permitirá ahora usar el teléfono.
Ok, para llamar a mis padres y buscar el número telefónico.
So I can call my parents and look for the phone number?
Yes, yes, sir.
Sí, señor.
Pero no sé si no trajeron mi teléfono aquí, creo que lo dejé en la casa, no sé.
But if they didn't bring my phone here, because I think I may have left it at home.
You may be able to access 411.
Tal vez usted pueda accesar la guía 411.
Ok, muchas gracias.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're free to go back.
Está bien, se puede retirar, señor.
Thank you, Ms. Bowles. Yes, ma'am.
You're welcome, Your Honor. May I inquire, please? I saw a Mr. Soto and also a Mr. Guerra on the list. Were they not in need of interpreting?
Can we check on Mr. DeSoto and Mr. Guerra to see if they need the services of Ms. Tolles?
They just said they don't need her, Your Honor. You want me to bring them up anyway?
No, sir. If they say they don't need her, then I'm going to allow her to leave and go about her day.
All right.
Thank you, Ms. Tolles. You have a good day.
Thank you, Your Honor. I hope you all have a wonderful day.
Okay. All right. Is this Mr. Anderson?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Anderson, you've been charged with 1 count of following too close and 1 count of driving a vehicle without a license. You're going to have a total bond set at $1,500. Do you believe you can post that bond, sir?
Yes, sir.
You're going to have a preliminary hearing date set for May 4th at 8:30 in the morning. That date will get waived upon your bonding out, and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer? You do qualify, Mr. Anderson. I'm appointing a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions of me?
No, sir.
Okay, you're free to go back.
Appreciate it.
Tell me your name, sir.
D'Angelo Benton.
Mr. Bentley, you've been charged with 1 count of, well, you've been charged with a number of driving related offenses. Only one of them is a felony, the fleeing from the police officer. The rest are misdemeanors. You're going to have a total bond set at, looks like $8,500. Do you believe you can post that bond, sir?
Yes, sir.
You're gonna have a preliminary hearing date set for May 5th at 8:30 in the morning. That date will get waived upon your bonding out, and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Would you like me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
About how much do you make per hour, Mr. Bentley?
Like 12.
Okay, you do qualify, Mr. Bentley, for the appointment of a lawyer. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions of me, sir?
No, sir.
Okay, you're free to go back.
Amir Bear.
Okay, give me 1 second, Mr. Berry. Sir, you've been charged with 3 driving-related offenses. Your total bond is going to be set at $2,500. Do you believe you can post that bond?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you're going to have a preliminary hearing date set for May 4th at 8:30 in the morning. That day to get waived upon your bonding out. Do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Are you currently working, Mr. Berry?
Yes, sir.
About how much do you make per hour?
$12.
I'm sorry.
12.
Okay, sorry, sir. You do qualify, Mr. Berry. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions of me?
No, sir.
All right, you're free to go back.
Thank you.
Court, right?
Give me 1 second, Mr. Bryan. I apologize. So, sir, you've been charged of 4 driving-related offenses. Your total bond is going to be set at $2,500. Do you believe you can post that bond?
Yes, sir.
You're going to have a preliminary hearing date set for May 4th at 8:30 in the morning. That date is going to get waived upon your bonding out. You get a new court date in the mail. Do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
I'm my own representation.
I'm sorry.
So I'm my own representation.
Okay. If you don't have any questions of me, Mr. Bryan, you're free to go back. Okay, Mr. Butler, you're charged with 1 count of improper solicitation. I've set the bond at $1,000. Do you believe you can post that bond? Okay, you're gonna have a preliminary hearing date set for May 4th at 8:30 in the morning. That date is gonna get waived upon your bonding out, and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer? You do qualify, Mr. Butler. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions of me?
I don't have any money on the phone, so when I get back to the room, is there any way I can call my mom so she can go about buying me out?
I believe that they will allow you to use a phone. The sheriff's, well, I know they will allow you to use the phone. I don't know the exact particulars. You're going to have to ask the sheriff's deputies what particularly is the process for that, okay?
Yes, sir.
Any other questions?
No, sir.
Okay, you're free to go back.
How you
Tell me your
doing?
name. Tell me your name, sir.
I'm Charlie Davis, sir.
Mr. Davis, you're charged with 1 count of loitering or prowling. Bond is set at $1,000 for that. Do you believe you can post that bond?
I don't have any family here, and I just lost my. I don't know. I honestly don't know. That's why I was gonna ask you. Since I actually just found the job, and I was supposed to start tomorrow, man. And I'm trying to get an OR. I was gonna ask you, could you OR me? Honestly, sir. If you look at my record, you'll see I've been to prison 5 times. Just as long as I ever been without being in any trouble. I don't do the things I used to do. I've been working very hard to get this job. I have an opportunity to get off the streets right now, and I was not loitering. I know that's extras right now, but I was wondering, is there any kind of way, due to the fact that this is a loitering and I'm trying to better my life, you can look at my history, that I could potentially get an OR search so I could better my life and be there for my children, man, because it was very hard for me to get as far as I've gotten with what I'm working with.
So the way that the process currently relates as to that, I would have to go through my chief, my boss, and that process will probably take a day. Yes. I could ask her, and I'll have an answer for you. I can have you moved over to tomorrow's calendar. I'm going to be there tomorrow, so I can ask. And I mean, she may say yes, she may say no.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
so what I'll do is I'll have you continued over. I'll do an order for you to be continued over to tomorrow, and I'll ask my chief, and I'll have an answer. And she may very well say no. So you have to understand that.
I do, but it's worth asking because I know for a fact that if they take into account my past and how far I came in, as long as I haven't stayed out of trouble, I don't do the things I used to do to get by. So it's been hard for me. I've been trying to learn on my own. I really haven't had means of like being okay, but thank you, John.
Okay. All right.
I do have an opportunity.
Okay. Sir, you're moving over to tomorrow. Next.
Are you done, Your Honor? Speaking with me?
Yes. I'm gonna move you over to tomorrow, and then we'll see what the answer is. Okay.
I appreciate it. I don't need no help, bro. I ain't even one of them.
Hello, Your Honor.
Mr. Dixon, you've also been. Are you Mr. Dixon?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you've also been charged with one count of improper solicitation of money. Your bond is going to be set at $1,000. Do you believe you can post that bond, sir?
I can't do bonds, but
oh yeah, you can pay cash. You can use a bondsman. You can use property.
Yeah, I mean, I can, but I'm not. I don't have anybody to bond me out. I don't.
Okay. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, you do qualify, Mr. Dixon. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. You're going to have a preliminary hearing date set for May 4th at 8:30 in the morning. That date is going to get waived upon your bonding out, and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Do you have any questions of me?
If I have the money on my account now, and I go through bonds now, how do I pay cash myself from to the bondsman?
So I don't actually know those mechanics. The people at the sheriff's department, all they do is deal with bonds, and the bonding companies, they deal with bonds. So there should be a slip of paper that they'll give you, the sheriff's department will give you, of all of the bonding companies that are authorized to write bonds in this county. And you can contact each one of them and explain your circumstance, and they'll tell you how much they would charge you.
Yes, sir. All right, I'm good.
Okay. Any other questions, Mr. Dixon?
If not, if I can't post bail, could you put me down for the OR?
I will make that request, but you'll be under the same situation as Mr. Davis. She could say no, and you'll be stuck with this bond that you post, okay?
Okay.
But I will work on trying to post that bond, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, you're free to go back, Mr. Dixon.
Your Honor, Mr.
Yes.
Davis, we having problems out of him now, so we might not bring him tomorrow, and we might will, the way he's going now. But we having problems with him right now.
Okay, just inform me whatever.
Okay.
Either way, just inform me whatever. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Go ahead. How you doing, y'all?
Are you Mr. Durden?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Durden, you're charged with one count of criminal trespass. Bond is going to be set at $3,000. Do you believe you can post that bond?
Yes, sir.
Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, sir. How much will I have to pay that bond? Percentage,
Roughly $300 to $400, but like I tell everyone, I can only give a rough estimate. The bonding company will tell you exactly what they'll charge. And I think there are like 5 or 6 different bonding companies, if I'm correct. So I will call each one and see what they'll charge you and get the best rate you can. Okay. You're going to have a preliminary hearing date set for May 4th at 8:30 in the morning. That date will get waived upon your bonding out. Again, would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Sir?
Did you say yes?
Yes.
Okay. You do qualify, Mr. Durden. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions of me? Okay, you're free to go back.
Which one you got next, Your Honor?
I have, it looks like Franklin is OTB. I have Green. Do you still have Mr. Davis down there?
Dale's took him back, Your Honor.
Okay, because if he's asking for an OR bond and he's acting up, he's kind of defeating his own purpose.
Yes, sir.
If he's not going to act well in the jail, he's not going to act well on the street.
Yes, sir.
Excuse me, Your Honor, this is Deputy Mohammed.
Yes.
How you doing, Your Honor?
I'm doing well. How are you, Deputy Mohammed?
Yes, he was just acting up when we get him out of here, Your Honor. I'm trying to come
Okay, well, Deputy Mohammed, let him know that he has forfeited his opportunity for me to ask the judge about that. I'm not going to ask for him to get an OR bond and he's not able to conform himself within the jail.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
Which one you got next, Your Honor?
I'm sorry, Mr. Green.
Green.
How you doing, Your Honor?
I'm doing well. Mr. Green, you're charged with 1 count of battery. I've set the bond at $5,000 and I've put a stay away provision on the bond to stay away from a Rayshonder Moore. Do you believe you can post this bond, sir?
And how much is 10% of that?
It'll roughly be about $500–600.
Okay, yes, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay, and you understand the stay away provision as it relates to Rayshonder Moore?
Yes, I mean, yes, sir. That mean I can't get around.
Yes.
Okay, yes, sir. I understand.
Okay, you're gonna have a preliminary hearing date set for May 4th at 8:30 in the morning. That date will get waived upon your bonding out and you get a new court date in the mail. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you do qualify, Mr. Green. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions of me?
No, sir, I don't.
Okay, you're free to go back. Okay, Mr. Gardner, you're charged with 1 count of criminal trespass. I've set the bond at $3,000. Do you believe you can post that bond? Did you say yes?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You're gonna have a preliminary hearing date set for May 4th. That date will get waived upon your bonding out. And you'll get a new date in the mail. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you do qualify, Mr. Gardner. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions of me?
One question. That's a bond where I can go to the bond company and pay cash?
Yes, sir. You can either pay the entire amount in cash, you can use a bonding company, or you can use property.
All right, thank you, sir. That's all.
You're welcome. You're free to go back.
How you doing today?
Hi, tell me your name, sir.
How you doing today? My name is Richard Allen.
I'm doing well. Okay, Mr. Howell, that's Howell.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir, you've been charged with 1 count of criminal trespass. I've set the bond at $3,000. Do you believe you can post that bond?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you're gonna have a preliminary hearing date set for May 4th at 8:30 in the morning. That date is gonna get waived upon your bonding out. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Howell, you do qualify. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions of me?
No, sir.
Okay, you're free to go back, Mr. Howell.
Have a good day.
You too.
Yo, Garo. Come on. Next is a Garo, Your Honor. We skipped over him.
Okay. Sir, you're charged with 1 count of trafficking marijuana. I set the bond at $30,000. Do you believe you can post that bond?
Yes, sir.
Do you plan on hiring your own lawyer representing yourself, or do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
I want to see if I qualify, please.
Okay. You do qualify. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. You're going to have a preliminary hearing date set for May 5th at 8:30 in the morning. That date is going to get waived upon your bonding out, and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Do you have any questions of me, Mr. Garo? Is it pronounced right?
Garo.
Garo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I have one question. So am I able to pay, like, is someone outside of the jail able to pay through the phone? Like through the phone?
I don't know. I honestly don't know that. You would have to ask one of the sheriff's office personnel, because if this is something, for example, if they're paying through a bonding company, whatever payment the bonding company accepts is what the bonding company accepts. I don't know if that would be something that the sheriff's office can do, but you would have to ask them.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much.
Okay, you're free to go back, sir. Tell me your name, sir.
Tell him your name.
Joshua Jackson.
Hold it down. Hold it down, gentlemen.
Mr. Jackson, you're charged with criminal trespass, simple battery, terroristic threats or acts, and simple assault. I've set your bond, total bond, at $16,000. Do you believe you can post that bond, sir?
Yes, no, I'm gonna call my foster folks.
Okay. Do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
What the lawyer gonna do for me?
Well, if there are any defenses that are available to you, the lawyer may be able to bring those out. You were at Riverwoods Behavioral Health, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
There could be a defense available to you that the lawyer would be able to bring that could have these charges dismissed. So a lawyer can probably help you.
I want a lawyer, sir.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you, Mr. Jackson. You do qualify. You're going to have a preliminary hearing date set for May 5th at 8:30 in the morning. I'm sorry? Yes, it'll be here, but if you're able to bond out, that date will get changed and you'll receive a new date in the mail, okay? Do you have any questions of me, Mr. Jackson? Okay, you're free to go back, sir.
Hey, I make a phone call for my folks.
I got you. You go take it.
Tell me your name, sir.
Clifford Lemire.
Gentlemen, y'all in court. No more talk.
Mr. Lemire, bond is going to be denied at this point on your 2 felony offenses. You're going to have a preliminary hearing date set for May 5th at 8:30 in the morning. I'm going to also set a bond hearing date for May 7th at 8:30 in the morning. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. The lawyer may be able to work on your behalf. and get you a bond set before those dates. But because of the charges, I think there has to be some more thought giving to this before there's a bond set. Okay. All right, you're free to go back, Mr. Lemire. All right, tell me your name, sir. Lundy Cush?
Yes.
Okay, sir, you've been charged with 1 count of simple assault and 1 count of criminal trespass. You're going to have a total bond set at $5,000. There's going to be a stay away provision to stay away from Joseph Sunil and to stay away from 295 Flint River Road, also known as Neil's Mart. Do you believe you can post that bond, sir?
I definitely will see what I could do. I didn't think that it would be $5,000, but I will see if I can post it today, which will go like 500 or something like that.
It's roughly that, and some bonding companies will even put you on a payment plan.
I can make that happen.
And do you understand the stay away provisions?
Yes, I do have a suit towards them as well. Once I do get exonerated to follow through.
Okay.
My only question before I go to wrap things up, I have my debit card inside my property with the funds. Will they allow me to retrieve it to make the payment?
The short answer is I don't know. I would make that request of the sheriff's office personnel because they're the ones that know their internal policies way better than I do. Do you plan on hiring your own lawyer? Do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer, or are you going to represent yourself?
I do believe I'll be hiring all these attorneys.
You believe, I'm sorry?
I believe I'm gonna definitely follow up with my own attorney.
Okay. All right. Well, if you don't have any more questions of me, sir, you're free to go back.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Tell me your name, sir.
Antonio Mathis.
Mr. Mathis, you've been charged with 1 count of simple battery, 1 count of false imprisonment, and 1 count of disorderly conduct. You're gonna have a total bond set at $11,500. Do you believe you can post that bond, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay, there's going to be a stay away provision on the bond to stay away from the Carrion Tucker. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
You're going to have a preliminary hearing date set for May 5th at 8:30 in the morning because the false imprisonment charge is a felony offense. Do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you do qualify, Mr. Mathis. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions of me, sir?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, you're free to go back.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Tell me your name, sir.
Clayton Montgomery.
Okay, Mr. Montgomery, you've been charged with a number of driving related offenses.
Yes, sir.
You're gonna have a total bond set at $10,500. Do you believe you can post that bond? You don't know?
No, I don't know.
Okay. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer? Okay, you do qualify, Mr. Montgomery. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. You're gonna have a preliminary hearing date set for May 4th at 8:30 in the morning. I would encourage you to contact the bonding companies that are authorized to write bonds here. That's literally their only job. So they will work with you. Do you have any questions of me, sir? Okay, you're free to go back.
All right, thanks.
You're welcome. I'm sorry?
Eli Robinson.
Mr. Robinson, you've been charged with 1 count of identity fraud. The bond is going to be set at $10,000. Do you believe you can post that bond, sir?
What is the percentage of that bond?
So there's a warrant that was taken out on you December of 2020.
And I understand that. Can I say one thing, right?
Yes.
I was just locked up at East Point, and they said something about that Clayton County for that cat down there at East Point and got me. At Clayton County, they never come to East Point and get me. I wasted my money and bonded out of East Point, and now just like a week later, I'm back in Clayton County for the same one. Like I got locked up at East Point, and they told me that Clayton had that filed a warrant for fraud December the 10th. I didn't even supposed to get out of East Point, but they still end up releasing me due to me paying a bond. And now it's like a week later, I'm back, and I get locked up on a house call that I didn't have nothing to do with.
So are you saying that you've been before a judge on this warrant already?
No, not for this one. Not for this one. I was at East Point, and I supposed to. Clayton County supposed to come to East Point and got me, but instead they didn't, and I bonded out.
So sometimes when I'm dealing with people that have, let's say, we call it fugitive for justice. Like the state of Alabama wants to come get you for a warrant. They got a time period that they can come and get you, and they may not come and get you, and you'll get released. But it doesn't mean the warrant was dismissed. And so I tell people all the time when I'm going through that whole process that if you get released, it doesn't mean the warrant was dismissed. So you can get released out the front door. 5 minutes later, you run into another police officer, that warrant is still valid, and you get locked right back up. So it's generally in your best interest to resolve everything so that when you walk out the door, you know you're out the door and you're not looking over your shoulder. Okay. So this warrant was, the allegation was back in June of 2020 when you supposedly cloned somebody's identity.
I ain't clone nobody's identity. It's my name. And see, I work for you folks at the warehouse, and I unload the truck. They paid me checks. They paid me checks for to pay other folks. I had my own workers, so I had to pay other folks. So the identity thing, I don't get where that's coming from. I really don't. I really don't. See, I had to pay other people, so they write me bigger check for me to pay people to work for me.
So what it says, and at this point, these are mere allegations, right? This is what people said you did.
Yeah.
So at this point, they're saying that you used the identifying information of Jay Yang and use that to obtain money. Now that's the allegation. Doesn't mean that the state of Georgia has to prove that beyond a reasonable doubt. I've set you a bond so that you can get out. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yeah.
Or you can, I'm not gonna force them on you. Can.
I really have some.
Okay, I'm going to find that you qualify, Mr. Robinson. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. You can fire this lawyer and hire your own lawyer at some point if that's what you want to do. You're going to have a preliminary hearing date set for May 5th at 8:30 in the morning. That date will get waived upon your bonding out. Do you have any other questions of me, sir?
What is the percentage of that 10,000?
I'm sorry, the percentage? It's going to be about $1,000. But like I tell everyone else, bonding companies are competitive. I would contact them all and see the best rate that you can get. Okay, anything else?
Okay.
All right, you're free to go back.
I come from the up there.
Hey, how you doing?
All right, tell me your name, sir. Okay, Mr. Raymond, you're charged with theft by receiving stolen property, being a motor vehicle, and driving a vehicle without a license. It appeared from your criminal history that you're still on probation, so I cannot set a bond on this felony offense at this stage. But you do have a bond on the no driving without a license. I'm going to set a preliminary hearing date for May 5th at 8:30 in the morning. I'm going to also set a bond hearing date for you for May 7th. Now, the important thing to note as it relates to this is it doesn't mean you can't get out before those 2 dates that I mentioned. It's just I can't do it right now. So it's something that either your lawyer can contact the district attorney's office and they may consent to a bond and for your getting out. It's just a legal technicality that I can't do it. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes,
All
sir.
right, you do qualify, Mr. Raymond. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions of me?
No, sir.
Okay, you're free to go back.
Thank you.
Hello, Your Honor. My name is Angel Luis Soto.
Okay, Mr. Soto, you also have been charged with trafficking marijuana. I'm going to set your bond at $30,000 also. Do you believe you can post that bond?
Yes, Your Honor.
You're going to have a preliminary hearing date set for May 5th at 8:30 in the morning, but that date will get waived upon your bonding out and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
I believe I'm gonna hire my own lawyers.
Okay. Do you have any questions of me, Mr. Soto?
It's just 10%, right?
Yes, sir.
Family member pay for it.
Yes, sir. And I say that again, that's the rough estimate,
Yes, Your Honor.
but the bonding company is the one that will tell you what their fee will actually be.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Anything else?
Yeah, one more question is, if I have a prepaid card that has like 2,000 on it, am I able to put it to my mom's and she does the rest?
I would ask the jail personnel that question and they'll be able to tell you their policy.
Okay, thank you so much, Your Honor. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. You're free to go back. Tell me your name, sir. Okay, Mr. Stroud, you're charged with 2 counts of obstructing an officer. I've set the bond at $2,000 apiece, so that's a total bond of $4,000. Do you believe you can post that bond?
How much is that?
Total bond is $4,000. Do you believe you can post that?
Yes.
Okay, you're gonna have a preliminary hearing date set for May 4th at 8:30 in the morning, but that date will get waived upon your bonding out. Would you like me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
No, sir.
Okay, you're gonna hire your own lawyer, you're gonna represent yourself.
I represent myself.
Okay, if you don't have any questions of me, Mr. Stroud, you're free to go back.
I have one question.
Yes, sir.
Obstructing the officer, meaning someone has a warrant and I'm not aware that the person was there and I still get arrested. How is that obstructing?
So in your particular case, I believe it was like they had a warrant for your mother and the allegation was that you told them that she wasn't there, but she was there. So
it was 2:47 in the morning and I was asleep. Yes, sir.
So in your case, the allegation is that based upon what you told them, they believe it hindered them in their official duties. Now, these are mere allegations. The police have to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. Doesn't mean you're guilty, but that's what the allegation is in your case.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. You're free to go back.
How you doing, Your Honor?
Hi, tell me your name, sir.
Joey Luigi.
Sir, you've been charged with 1 count of criminal trespass. I've set the bond at $3,000. Do you believe you can post that bond?
Yes, sir.
You're going to have a preliminary hearing date set for May 4th at 8:30 in the morning. That date will get waived upon your bonding out and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Not right now, sir.
Okay, are you going to hire your own lawyer? You're going to represent yourself?
Represent myself.
Okay, if you don't have any questions for me, sir, you're free to go back.
That's it. Thank you.
Okay.
Darius Turner, good evening, sir.
Hi, tell me your name, sir.
Darius Turner.
Okay, give me 1 second, Mr. Turner. Oh.
You can walk down that way, go check it out.
Okay, give me 1 second, Mr. Turner. I have temporarily misplaced your paperwork. Let's see. I'm sorry, Mr. Turner. Give me a second. Mr. Turner, can we have Mr. Turner step to the side? I have his warrant, and I have apparently misplaced it somewhere, but we're almost at the end, Mr. Turner, so it'll just be a second for me to find it, and we'll come back to you, okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Are you Mr. White?
Yes.
Mr. White, you've been charged with 1 count of battery. I've set a $5,000 bond in your case, and I put a stay away provision on your bond to stay away from a Danielle Harrison Stark. Do you believe you can post this bond, sir?
Yes.
And do you understand the stay away provision?
Yes.
Okay. You're going to have a preliminary hearing date set for May 4th at 8:30 in the morning. That date will get waived upon your bonding out, and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes.
Okay, you do qualify, Mr. White. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions of me, sir?
No.
Okay, you're free to go back. Have your name, sir?
Joseph Wilson, sir.
Okay, Mr. Wilson, you've been charged with 1 count of criminal damage to property in the 2nd degree. I've set your bond at $3,000. Do you believe you can post this bond, sir?
Yes, sir.
You're going to have a stay away provision on this bond to stay away from Taisha Stewart. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Did you say yes?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Wilson, you do qualify. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions of me?
Yes, sir. What is 10% of $3,000? Yeah.
It's roughly $300, $400. Okay. You're going to have a preliminary hearing date set for May 4th, and that date will get waived upon your bonding out, and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Do you have any questions of me, Mr. Wilson?
Yes, sir. I was just trying to tell you that they gave me a court order to get evaluated for my mental health.
Okay.
And I go to court. I go to work Friday and Saturday, and I can go check in mental health, get evaluated, and come back and let you know that I got evaluated for my mental health.
Okay. Anything else, Mr. Wilson?
Sure.
Okay, you're free to go back.
Donna, do you have a Timothy Jefferson on your?
I do.
And then you got a Banks, Adrian Banks. They just came.
Okay, so Mr. Jefferson is back from the hospital?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm back, Your Honor.
Okay, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well now after 2 days. I'm doing fine, sir.
Okay, Mr. Jefferson, you've been charged with 1 count of driving on a suspended license. The bond for this is automatically set at $1,500. Do you believe you can post that bond, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, Your Honor. The bond has already been paid. I would like to elaborate on a few things on the case that you reviewed on the 2nd of this month.
Okay.
I was not driving my vehicle at a particular time. I was arrested in my store. There obviously was some retaliatory actions done by the commissioner from the September 2nd with the sheriff department, and my attorney, Tom Florio will be looking into that. I just wanted to bring that to your attention that there was a retaliatory action made towards me.
Okay, there's so you definitely need to speak to Mr. Florio about that. And
because I wasn't driving, they came in my store and arrested me.
Okay.
Then this is the sad part. Then they were driving me back to the jail halfway from 138 on Tower Boulevard. Lieutenant McGee called the sergeant and told the sergeant to go back and tow my truck. And he turned around and told my vehicle was not used. It was in the parking lot. And that's when I started having chest pains. The unethical behavior continues.
Okay. There is, as you can understand, I have to be kind of in the middle of all of this stuff. So I would encourage you to speak to Mr. Florio. Mr. Florio is a good attorney. I'm sure he will be able to assist you in getting whatever relief that you need, okay?
Yes, I understand the process. I just wanted to let Your Honor know that the retaliatory actions continue.
So, Mr. Jefferson, is Mr. Florio going to represent you on this?
Yes, he is.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Is there anything else, Mr. Jefferson?
No, under certain conditions, John, because I was not driving, would it be any consideration for OR bond?
So the way that it works with the OR bond right now is like I would have to get permission from the chief. Yes. And that's something because she's dealing with stuff also that I would have to wait until she's done. So that would mean I would have to push you over into the next day. So it's probably better for you to just bond out and deal with it as it relates to that.
Yeah, I'll just bond out. Thank you for your consideration.
Okay. Thank you, sir. You have a good day.
Thank you.
Tell me your name.
Hello, Your Honor. My name is Adrian Banks.
Mr. Banks, you've been charged with 1 count of criminal trespass. I've set the bond at $2,000 for that. Do you believe you can post that bond?
Yes.
Okay, you're going to have a preliminary hearing date set for May 4th at 8:30 in the morning. That date will get waived upon your bonding out, and you'll get a new date in the mail. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, I think I'm gonna have my own lawyer.
Okay, that's fine. It's a question that we have to ask because we want to try to get people lawyers as quickly as possible. So if you're going to hire your own lawyer, that's perfectly fine.
All right.
Okay, anything else, Mr. Banks?
I was trying to see if I do qualify for it.
I'm sorry?
I was trying to see if I do qualify for a lawyer.
Okay. Are you currently working, Mr. Banks?
Right now, I wasn't because I had COVID. So when I go back, they probably will let me work.
Okay. How much do you make per hour?
15.
Okay, you do qualify. So I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you, Mr. Banks. Do you have any questions for me?
No.
Okay, you're free to go back.
All right.
Okay, Mr. Turner, as you can imagine, paperwork gets kind of thrown around, and I'm checking my paperwork now because your file may have gotten, everything is paper clipped together, and it may have gotten attached to another document because you're here. I see you're here. I got it. You're stuck with Mr. Jefferson. Okay, Mr. Turner, you've been charged with 1 count of simple assault, 1 count of false imprisonment, 1 count of disorderly conduct. And I think you're in the same boat as Mr. Mathis. So you're gonna have a bond set at $11,500. You believe you can post that bond?
How much is that to the bond company, roughly?
Okay. And you also are going to have a stay away provision to stay away from a Decarion Tucker. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You're gonna have preliminary hearing date set for May 5th because the false imprisonment charge is a felony offense. It's gonna be 8:30 in the morning. That date will get waived upon your bonding out, and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you do qualify, Mr. Turner. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions of me?
You just said the bond was 11 what?
The total bond is going to be $11,500, but it'll be a little bit higher because the Sheriff's Department is required by law to add fees to the bond that I set, but I don't have access to that schedule, so it'll be a little bit higher. Okay?
What bonding company it is?
I believe there are like maybe 5 or 6 bonding companies. There's a sheet of paper that the Sheriff's Department will give you that has the names and the telephone numbers for the bonding company. So you can contact them and they'll tell you what they'll charge you.
All right.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, you're free to go back. Okay, before we get off,
yes, sir.
Let me check to make sure. Basheen Brown is OTB?
Correct, sir.
Jairus, it looked like it may, I got Clack, but I think it's something else on.
Clark?
Yes, Clark.
Yeah, he's OTB.
Okay. Tianta Harper?
Harper, she is OTB. No,
okay.
What was the name?
Last name Harper, first name is Teunta.
No, she's here. I wasn't aware of that. She was in medical. So I'll go up there and hold it up and we can just do it up there now.
Okay, because I do have a filled out CAA for her.
Did y'all bring it?
I have one filled out for Brown too. I know sometimes between them filling it out and coming before me, they bond out. But Harper is charged with something that has an automatic bond set. But you have Harper as a female?
Correct.
Sometimes I don't know how the deputies, when I have on my warrant that it's a male. I don't know how they miss how they missed that. Mr. Richard, Keenan Richard.
Mr. Richard.
Shoplifting. LE number 1754630.
They took my list, Your Honor, so I'm trying to go by theirs, and I don't understand. I tell you, they take mine, and Richard, he's in 109. Hold on one second, Your Honor.
Okay.
Yeah. You still there, Your Honor?
Yes, I'm still here.
Yeah, Your Honor, I was the first one with the lawyer. The one just got out of prison yesterday.
Yes, no. I do have you. I'm sorry, Deputy. It was Keenan Richard, not Glenn Richard.
Okay.
So Mr. Richard can go back.
Okay, the King Richard bonded out.
Okay, and I got an Isaiah Washington.
Isaiah Washington, let me see that list.
Open container seatbelts. They probably bonded out because I don't have a bond order. So a lot of times when I see that, they have already bonded out.
Yeah, he bonded out.
Okay. Thank you, Miss Bernie. So would you check again on the Harper? Because
Mr. Harper?
Teunta, first name Harper, Harper, and it's a driving with no license where it's automatic bond set. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're OTB.
I think he's in medical. The one in medical. He's right here. I take him back to medical. He was here. I know. I take him back.
Take him back.
Yeah, I take him back. He's on the suicide watch. Right here. He's in medical 11. Yeah, I got him back.
Okay.
No, he's out.
Would it be too much of a?
He bonded out, Your Honor.
He did?
Yeah,
correct.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you. That's all I have.
Okay.
You guys have a good day.
All right. Sorry about that, Your Honor.
No problem. I just always try to check before I get off, so we'll be fine.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye.